What's up, everybody? My name's Tommy Worthington. Today I'm going to be taking you through my illustration process from start to finish. Just going to be sort of a basic overview of how I approach my pieces, from going from a very rough sketch into like a full-on finalized illustration. So let's hop into it. Just want to start off by saying that this illustration was commissioned for Wacom. They make really great drawing tablets. They've been my go-to drawing tablet since I started digital art many years ago. They recently sent me their new Wacom One tablet to try, and that's what I'll be using throughout this whole process. So yeah, now we're getting into it. Really starting with some really rough sketches. The only real request from the client was to have it be a wintry scene, so I had pretty much total creative control really after that for this illustration. So my concept was having like an artist or like an art student kind of walking through a wintry sort of landscape, and he's holding like a sketchbook, a couple sketchbooks and like a tablet, and like on the one big sketchbook the sketch is sort of coming to life and wrapping around him. It's still very rough obviously, but the general idea is there and I'm fine with that. So at this point I'm gonna just take some reference photos. So yeah, you can see me here pretending to be a model, playing some dress up. It really does help a lot. I know it's probably awkward at first to take reference photos of yourself, and definitely watching this video back is a little awkward, but you know, it helped my process out a lot, and I eventually did find a pose that I liked, which you can see on screen here. The references are just super important in art, but using yourself as reference is always so easy, and obviously a lot cheaper than hiring somebody, and you can get like the specific pose you want because you're the one doing it. But the one thing to keep in mind when you are using yourself as reference, or really using any references, I'm not like trying to draw myself, I'm just using it as a guide to draw the character I want. Obviously I'm probably going to accidentally pick up some characteristics of myself, but I'm definitely not trying to like put myself in this illustration. Don't want to undermine how important it is to also work from imagination. Doing a mix of both for me seems to help my progress pretty well. Also, I should mention I'm using Clip Studio Paint to make this illustration. It's my favorite program to draw in. As far as the Wacom One, it performed good. I think they're great drawing tablets. I use a Wacom 24-inch Cintiq daily. I love the thing, but I could see myself getting a Wacom One when I was a student, or when I was just really starting out with digital art and I wanted a display tablet I could draw on. It won't replace my 24-inch Cintiq, but it will be a good tablet to have in my arsenal to travel with and easily stuff together in a bag and just take it with me. The only thing I really changed about it was the stand itself, and that's only because I just prefer my tablets to be almost at like a 90-degree angle, so I'm not really like hunched over too much. And luckily I had a stand already and I just put it on that and it seemed to work out pretty well. So yeah, now I'm just focused on getting some cleaner lines that I'm happy with. Admittedly, I probably did too many layers of lines. I think I did 4 layers before I was super happy with them. But I would prefer that over rushing through the line work, because it's better to get everything figured out in your line work than it is to wait until you're rendering after everything's already kind of polished and finished. Fixing mistakes early is the easiest way to correct them. line work's done, finally moving on to color. From the beginning, I had it planned as like a snowy sunset landscape with a lot of like blues and pinks and purples. I figured that might be more appealing than, a cold, gray, dreary winter day where all you want to do is sit inside. I quickly threw some buildings in the background. That's from a brush set by Devin Kurtz. It's a city brush set. Stuff like that's super helpful just to quickly throw in some elements that kind of make your piece look more alive. And those buildings are going to be pretty faded out by the end, so for me it's not really worth spending a ton of time detailing them. For the trees, I'm really just thinking of them as like graphic shapes. I'm not trying to like get too lost into the details from the start. Just having one flat color and then a highlight and then some snow on top, I feel like does the job pretty well. I was always planning on the light coming from the right side of the screen and his left side. For me, I think that's my best way to work, is to just have the light as defined shapes. Instead of going in with any small details first, just get the big light source figured out and then worry about the small stuff later. As I'm rendering out his face, I'm just thinking about how the light source is hitting his face and the forms of the face and how they interact with the light and the shadow, and trying to keep the color palette accurate to the scene he's in. It's a lot easier to put a character into a scene that's already rendered than to try to create a background for a character that's already rendered, if that makes sense. Kind of a side note, but I do like looking back at my process now. I've never actually filmed the whole thing. It feels similar to if you've ever played a sport and you have to watch game footage of the previous game, where you can see where you did good and you did bad. That's what it kind of feels like right now, except for there's no coach here to yell at me. Anyway, yeah, I'm just building up from what I'm working on the sketches that are on his sketchbook, and I'm just trying to make sure they look accurate to how they would be on an actual sketchbook. I'm trying to keep that, pencil-y texture. As this piece is wrapping up, I do want to mention that it's easy to get sort of swept up into the speed paint and thinking everything came together so fast. This illustration, I think I had about either 9 or 10 hours of footage of screen recordings, And when you see that sped up into 10 minutes, it looks like everything came together so fast. So yeah, it's important just to give yourself time to make a good illustration and don't feel like you have to rush it out because you're not keeping up with how fast you think other artists work. It takes time and it takes effort to improve your skills and your speed, so there's really no point in rushing these things. The only real way to do it is to consistently put effort into it, and as time goes on, you'll notice those things improve. But yeah, I'll let the rest of the illustration play out. Thanks for watching the whole video. Thanks again to Wacom for sending me the tablet and also commissioning me to do the illustration. I had a lot of fun with it and thought the tablet was really great. I hope you were able to get something out of this if you're an artist who's just interested in seeing how other artists, approach their process, and if this type of thing is up your alley. I plan to do some more stuff like this. So stick around, I guess, and peace. That was corny.